Hi, Megan Gerard. This is Jim Gillis with Win My Vote and the National Student Vote and National Student Parent Mock Election. And this is what I have in mind for the mock election or National Student Vote for 2020. And that is do it all on this site, the National Student Vote. Now, the National Student Vote's not a company, it's not copyright, it's not a brand or anything like that. It's just will be a website that we'll use to direct all of the traffic to so they can sign up and get their ballots and be part of the national student vote. So the way I see it is that we'll just have a site like this. And again, this isn't the final thing, but this is just an idea. And then we'll have the logos down here, call it in conjunction with. That way, groups and organizations can send out emails and say, hey, go to this site. And then, so for example, if YLI does that, they'll see the YLI, logo here and say, oh, okay, this is great. This is it. And then when they click on that, they'll fill out a pretty short form and they'll get a code here that will put them in specific voting districts. Now they'll be able to email that to their students. Their students can click on it and get an anonymous ballot, or they can just write it up on the whiteboard and the students can punch it into the URL bar and get their ballot. And again, no student personal information or data or emails or anything like that. It would all just be, anonymous, usernames like this right up here. And sorry, my cursor keeps flashing in and out, so it's hard for me to see it. But anyway, the student would then see all of the candidates and all of the races on their ballot, and they'd be able to click on the candidate and watch videos and read about the candidate. They could, ask questions of the candidate. We'll probably change some of this stuff up here because these are the Win My Vote candidate profiles. So we'll make them, applicable to the student vote. So, for example, they won't have donate on there, right? We'll take that off for sure. But from here, they'll be able to scroll through kind of quickly and see the candidates, and then they can take deeper dives into the candidates that they want. So they can do like a quick bio here and learn about the candidate's education and professional background. And then they can click over here and see where the candidates stand on specific issues. And they can scroll down like this. And if they want to learn more, they can kind of drill down and again, kind of drill down into that one issue. And since the candidates will hopefully be creating and managing and updating their own profiles, those will be nice and full and robust and current. If they don't, if we can't get them to do that, I can do that with the presidential candidates for sure, and then probably most of the governors and Senate, and then some of the high profile Congress. Um, Congressional candidates. I can make those profiles pretty robust, but I feel pretty good about getting to most of the candidates and having them, update their own profile, especially with the long runway that we have, going towards this. And if we can get the candidates involved in this, it's great because then they start trying to win the student vote. Um, and that just helps for PR and awareness and all that. So the student, and then they can also do this little quick, thing here where they maybe want to know about a specific issue like free speech, and then they can, check that out. So let's say the student decides to vote for Tulsi Gabbard. They'll simply click on the star, and then when they go back to the ballot, she'll move into the first position here, and then these will kind of fade a little bit like that. It won't stop them from still looking at these candidates. They can still open up their profiles, but just visually we have that done so that it's nice and prominent like that. And then they can go to the questions, or they can scroll down to other races. But for here, we'll just have them go to the questions. These will be the 5 leading questions. Again, they're not set in stone yet at all. We'll sort of decide what is the most appropriate thing to do. We'll work with some other groups and organizations that have done this before, and we have done it in the past as well, and kind of know some of the safe ones, and then some of the issues that maybe need a little bit more care, in how we word them. But so, for example, we'll call question 2, maybe about immigration, and should the government allow immigrants who are here illegally to become U.S. citizens, sort of a citizen path, right? Well, with that, we'll have a neutral. Oops, sorry. See, my cursor goes out, but I know that the video still captures it. So sorry if that's distracting. But right here, we'll have a neutral video that just sort of introduces this question. And again, there's tons and tons of content out there already, and we can talk about who we choose to do that. And then there's also, arguments in support of this and arguments, opposing it. And we can use a site called procon.org. It's incredibly good site. I talked with the founder a couple of years ago. He sent me an email, said you can use it anytime you want, all the content you want. Good luck with the mock election. He's really into it, just didn't have time to become an official sponsor last time, but I'm going to circle back and maybe he'll become an official sponsor. But it's great, content. The students will click on it and then they'll be able to read the argument in support here, and there can be videos and a variety of other things. And then they can go down here to the con arguments, and they can do those same things. And then when they decide which way they want to go on it, they simply click there, and they're going to vote yes on it. When they go back to their ballot, they'll be able to see it's nice and prominent here that they're going to be voting yes. And then they can also see percentages here. And again, these are some of the features that we have on Win My Vote that we can either leave up or we can take off or we can customize or we can change or we can do a variety of those things. It's just that there's cost involved, in all of those things. So it's just a matter of what we decide is worth it. If we can find a sponsor or someone that can come in and fund it, then, we'll work with them about, how they'd like to have things done and how we'd like to have things done and that type of stuff. So what we can do is, you can see up here, sorry about this, I'll go back. But as these candidates, are being voted for, you can see there's, the percentages there. So those percentages are real-time percentages of the votes. And they're just a click away from me finding the real numbers. So what we'll do as the states, close down their voting, we'll be able to assign a state to one of the candidates, the party, right? Typically it's going to be blue or it's going to be red. And then we can kind of go through that, as the states get closed down and start turning them blue and red until we have a final like that. And then we're able to display that up on the National Student Vote site. And then Gerard, we can talk about whether we do that before your show or after your show or during your show or what works best for you on that. And again, these are lots of decisions that we can make, as a group. Same thing with the questions. We can display there that the majority of students voted no on this, and then here's how the percentages work out and all that. The graphics in front of this can look totally different. These are just ones that I grabbed from Win My Vote. So we can make them look kind of however we want on the front end. All the back end engine stuff is already in place. So that's the good news. And then as far as other links and stuff, Mag, I know that we talked about you guys doing lesson plans and all that, and it would look better than this. Again, I'm just doing this for the demo. But for lessons plan or teachers click here or whatever you want, they could click on it and then they would just go right to your site and do the lesson plans like that. Same thing with 16 and 17-year-olds vote pre-registering. They could click on that and they could go right to their state registration, and if their state allows online registration for 16 and 17-year-olds, they can go right into that process. If it doesn't, they can click on rock the vote or something like that. Any way we configure it, we can have the kids clicking on things from sponsors that are applicable to their state and their county and their zip code and all that stuff. So hopefully that makes sense. So again, I'll just kind of review all 50 states, the ballots. We'll try to do Puerto Rico and American Samoa and stuff like that. I've been able to do those before, which are kind of fun. I just don't know if we have audiences there. But we can do, the state executives, the U.S. Senate, and the House of Representatives. I can go down ballot pretty easily by adding, state upper and lower house, and then even some mayoral races in big cities and those types of things. It's really just a resource concern at that point, is to say, okay, we got a lot of people in Florida and Miami is having a mayoral race that's really contentious, and maybe a lot of the schools in that area want to see that. I can do it real easily. The question is then, reaching out to the candidates, having them build profiles, or me building the profiles for them. Profiles can take me about 5 or 10 minutes to build. Again, it's super simple. It's usually just cut and paste off YouTube and their Facebook and Twitter and all that type of stuff. Um, so it's easy to do. It's just a matter of the time and money and resources. The national questions, again, we can kind of talk about those as they roll out, and it's usually just the ones that are most popular at the time. Support, I'll have video frequently asked questions. Email is rough. I do some self-help, some auto response email on that type of stuff. And the last time in 2016 and 2018, we had hardly any support questions at all. So that was really good. But we have to be kind of ready for stuff like that. And then marketing, again, that's something that is just resource based. And then for cost, I put minimum 10,000. That's what I'm trying to get when it comes to getting sponsors and partners. That's the number that I'm looking for to get all this thing wrapped up and have it look the way that we want it to look, and for it to go. And it would probably take me maybe 60 days. So if someone wanted to give me $10,000 tomorrow, it would take me 60 days from tomorrow to have everything locked in and done and working and ready to go. I mean, even most of the profiles with all that. Anyway, so hopefully that makes sense. And then information to Gerard, it's real simple to do. I can send you an Excel spreadsheet that would just give you the totals, of the states, and you can just paint them red or green or red or blue. Or you can just look right at our website. I can update our website, and then you can just use the website as your own information resource. So that one's not a problem at all. Anyway, so let's all talk again and see what next steps are. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.